Of mine, Ben Povey. So I don't know if he's still there or not, but there you go. So welcome to everyone that has just joined. I'm going to check to see who has joined and so forth if the Facebook comes up. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Hello. Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hello. I'm not sure whether this is the internet connection on my end.
Yeah, I think it might be. Can you hear me now?
The connection isn't going to go kaput like it did last time.
Yes.
Hopefully. So now I'm going to hand the discussion over to Ben and let Ben.
Okay, Jacob. So, sorry.
Yep, I can hear you.
Today we're going to be talking about multiple different things. Quite a serious topic. You know what's going on in the world at the moment, and also as well as a few fun topics as well, such as your audio drama. Can you hear me still? Bump, can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Cool. Yeah, such as your audio drama and your, you know, just
excellent.
the chatty boxes and stuff like that. Hello?
Hello, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, so just gonna be talking about what's going on in the world.
Brilliant, excellent.
Chatterboxes,
Yeah,
and your audio drama. So go ahead, Jacob.
brilliant, excellent. Well, it depends on what you wish to discuss about first.
I think it's best to get the serious topic out the way first. So I have I've been talking to a lot of people about their opinions.
Could you say that again?
I've been talking to a lot of people about their opinions on what's going on in the world. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Sorry about the weird connection, folks.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Cool. So I've been talking to a lot of people about what's going on in the world, and most people are so hyped up with you know, the NHS getting more help, and yes, I agree, it's amazing, but on the other hand, it should have come sooner. It should have come way before, you know, before this virus. Can you expand on that? What are your thoughts on that?
Sure. So I suppose your perception of this is there should have been recognition for the NHS prior to all of this, what's happening at the moment.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's
brilliant. So I suppose.
Sorry, you go.
Sorry, I was going to say. I suppose. Yeah. I'll give you my perspective in regards to a lot of this stuff going on at the moment. So I have both a mum and a dad that currently both work in the NHS at the moment. So my mum does like nursing district stuff within the districts in Bournemouth and so forth. And my dad does a lot of the office admin stuff for, say, NHS 111 and 999 calls and so forth. So they would be classified as key workers as of this very moment and are currently, you know, still working. And at least I attribute this to they're not on the front lines of working in hospitals and so forth to look after those that are under the strain of this virus. And I think it's very, very tricky on everyone that's still currently classed as key workers, especially those working on front lines to protect those individuals and try and keep the public safe and so forth. And having to deal with that whilst still continuing to look after people that aren't affected by what's going on at the moment, but more so pre-existing health needs and all this other, you know, people ending up in accidents and so forth, whilst it's a strain on my mum and dad, because my mum is having to go into as is standard, and it's very, very tricky to juggle with both the COVID side of things and just trying to look after normal people.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree on that point. See, I was watching this story today even that this husband and wife, the wife of this poor man is a doctor, and she is on the front lines. And she actually has to. The hospital she works at is far away from her actual home. So she's got sort of another sort of little house near the hospital she works at, because it's easier to get there. But they've used it not as a getaway home instead to go to the hospital, but a separation. So obviously they're still married, but they're not living together at the moment because she's in the NHS working, and it's a double risk of her husband catching it. So they're living separately right now. And I think
terrific. Yeah, that's terrible.
And I think the thing is, it's not, the NHS isn't, it's wonderful, but at the same time, people don't see what amazing work they do. So I just want to give a big thumbs up to the NHS. I doubt anyone is listening from the NHS, but still, it's tricky because they're limited staff, but luckily the government has given us more money to, really get out there and given us more resources to help with the situation. And it's just a big, excuse my language, but it's a big kick up the arse. Just to get the NHS out there and for the people to know that they're really needed, I mean, I don't know. It's just so tricky to for the NHS right now because they're so not fully, but died down a little bit.
Internet connection issues, which is just really, really crap. Hopefully, we can bring back Ben Povey and see what he's up to. Right, let's see who's still there, and hopefully I'll read some comments and so forth. Let's have a look and see. Right. Excellent. Right. Thank God I can actually bring up the stream and look at people's comments and what have you. So we have a hi from Anthony. Hello, Anthony. Good to see you. If you're still around. What else have we got? We've got hello, mate, from Ethan. Having also James. Hey, man, welcome to the stream. If you're still there, yeah, I haven't spoken to you in 5 years. Good to speak with you. And Tom Roberts. Hello, Tom. Good to see you on the stream. Right, that's all the comments. But what I can direct you folks to is, bear with me 1 second, bring up a good friend of mine, George, well, George Isley, did a video with another friend of his speaking about what is currently going on at the moment. Allow me to bring that up. Still checking to see if there's any comments or anything like that, or people who've just joined and whichever.
Topics then, coronavirus.
Yeah, well, it's the thing that everybody's talking about. It's the in thing to talk about.
It's just all over the internet.
It is. It's quite stressful, isn't it?
No.
You know,
That's just internet porn. I mean,
Say something.
How have you been affected by the coronavirus?
Work, for a start. work in a very big coffee shop that
Sorry, coffee
starts
shop?
with R and ends with Ux.
Oh, yeah.
And
Costa.
it's been totally dead. Like there's, I think we had in a day we regularly do 450 customers. We did like 100
Jesus.
max. Yeah,
Scene for like 5
that's
days
right.
And, yeah.
And the worst thing is you don't really know if you have it or not until you start developing symptoms, because you could be a carrier, as they say.
It's true.
You've got these people called super spreaders, like kids in school and
Bring again, folks.
and
This is true.
I suppose technically, if I were to get it and not know, I'd probably spread it to a lot of people. Because I see a lot of people in a day. Let's think in maybe 30 years time, we'll be telling our kids, my 16.
Yeah, well, absolutely crazy thought. By the way, I should have noted my friend George, who participated in this video with his friend. George is the one on to think that in 20 years time or whatever, or 10 years, or we talk about this in 10, 20, or whichever years time, in that people a pandemic of sorts, and it's put the world to a complete halt on that matter.
Granddad at 50.
We'll be telling we live that's easy. 73, and it's absurd. I mean, she lived, through the end of the war.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. But like World War
yeah.
II. It's not been like
So that's always the problem when you're filming with external sources that are out of your control. Hey, excellent! You're back on. Brilliant. So, hello, James. No, not James. Sorry, Ben. Hello, can you still hear me on this
Yes,
end?
I can still hear you. Can you still hear me?
Excellent. I'm glad that's the case. So I was, yeah, I can still hear you.
All right, cool.
Brilliant. So what I was going through with, sorry, hopefully you can still hear me on this end. I don't know, maybe there's some noticeable lag to and forth.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Cool. What I was introducing people to was one of my good friends from college, George. He had a video where him and his mate are talking about what's going on at the moment, and this is a video that they did discussing it and their thoughts regarding the situation at the moment. So I was playing that for the folks whilst I was waiting for you within that time. Would you like to see the video that I have up on the stream at the moment? Cool, excellent. So my friend George is the one on the left when they do the interview.
Topics then, coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing that everybody's talking about. It's the in thing to talk about.
Hopefully you can hear it on your end.
Yeah.
It's just all over, isn't it?
It is. It's It's quite stressful, isn't it?
No.
You know,
That's just internet porn.
Say something.
How have you been affected by the coronavirus?
Well, work for a start. Work in a very big coffee shop.
Costa.
It's been totally dead. I think we had in a day we regularly do 450 customers. We did like 100 max.
Wow.
So yeah, there's the boredom of that. There's the fear of catching it from the amount of people that are coming through.
Yeah. Of course, the symptoms aren't seen for like 5
That's
days.
right. And the worst thing is, you
How
don't
many listeners
really
have we
know
got?
if you have it or not.
There's 3 at the
start
moment.
developing symptoms,
Have
because
just
you could
come
be a
up.
carrier, as they say.
It's true.
You know, you've got these people called super spreaders, like kids in school, and you know, I suppose technically, if I were to get it and not know, I'd probably spread it to a lot of people. Because I see a lot of people in a day. Let's think, in maybe 30 years' time, we'll be telling our kids, you know, or you know, grandkids.
Yeah, no, I'd mentioned this to people on stream before you came on, but yeah, I think it's absolutely insane that within 10, 20, 30 years' time, we are going to, you know, have, maybe people have kids of their own, that we're going to say, you know, we lived through a blooming quarantine pandemic, or which have you, and that legacy that we've got is going to be carried on for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I also, can I just continue with my point before it cut off?
Sure.
So I was just saying that the NHS was, do you remember the story I told you about the husband and wife?
Unfortunately, I couldn't know because the internet cut in and out and I couldn't hear your story at all.
Okay, so just quick recap. So there's this wife, there's the wife of this guy works in a hospital as an NHS member.
Right.
And they've got like 2 houses. They got their regular house and then their house closer to her work.
Right, okay.
And unfortunately, because of this thing, she has to live there because she's on the front lines, you know. But all her husband is miles away in a separate house. So because it's a 24-hour thing, they've been living separately for this whole time that it started, right from the start.
Right.
And it just shows how dedicated the NHS members are. So,
sorry, these 2 individuals, they've been living separately, have they?
Yeah. Because, and their husband and wife. So,
and so I take it, sorry, the wife's in the hospital at the moment.
Yeah, the wife is the doctor. Right. So the wife is on the front lines as an NHS member, and she has to live like closer to the hospital because it's a 24-hour thing, and so her husband is like miles away from her, and she has to stay in that area. So they've been living separately for this whole thing going on.
Yeah, very, very, very difficult. Yeah.
So it just sorry.
That's it. Oh no, sorry. Continue on. Yeah, no, it's just the reaction to obviously what people are just having to go through at the moment.
And it just shows how dedicated the NHS are. and it's just, I really do feel that the NHS should have got this help sooner, way before this virus happened. And it's like, now it's like, oh, we don't need you, we're not going to give you any money at all. And then as soon as they're all needed, the government kicks into gear all this, giving them money and resources, but way before that, they were ignored, and that really annoys me.
Yeah. No, I think that's well, hopefully now it reprioritizes the priorities that perhaps these governments, whether that be political parties or whatever, how they view the work of certain members of our community, whether that be truck drivers, whether that be nurses and doctors and whoever in the hospitals, people that are still able to keep this country afloat and not stop it from going into rioting and whatever. I think certainly they'll reprioritize and look at who are the most essential services to our community, and look at, whether that be better pay, whether that be giving them some kind of allowance or some sort of public service pension or whichever. So looking at it that way, hopefully it enables them to reprioritize in those certain areas and look at what's certainly most essential, and I suppose giving a chance to those that do these more vocational jobs.
And hopefully, it really, like you say, kicks into gear more, that the NHS is needed, and we need to look after them more.
Indeed so.
And can you just recap me on where your parents fit into this? Because you said your parents sort of work in conjunction with the NHS.
Yes. So my mum is currently a district nurse who works in various districts in and around East Bournemouth. So we're talking within the Hull area and whichever. And my dad does a lot of office admin stuff. One of the main hubs for all of the 111 999 calls going into South West
England. So does he take the calls?
Yeah, he's done various different roles within this position. So he has taken calls, he's managed certain teams, and primarily those. He used to do what was known as NHS Direct, which was the service prior to NHS 111. So it was the precursor to that. And so he's been around within the health sector for many different years. So he's good in that department.
Yeah, and I do think it's worth mentioning that the number of deaths has gone slightly down in the UK.
Right, okay.
So that is, a positive note to remember that we're not at all close, but there is hope. And I'm really want to put that out there.
Sure.
You turned your camera off. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. I've got parents coming through in and out and so forth. Hopefully you can still hear me on this end.
Yeah.
There we go. Right, I'm here. Sorry about that. Sorry, you were saying?
I can't remember now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just saying that no, I can't remember what I was saying. Yeah.
Is it in regards to what my parents are currently doing at the moment?
Oh, yeah. So I was just going to say, what does your mum do?
So my mum is a district nurse working in various districts within Bournemouth. And my dad does a lot of managerial stuff with people working on 111 and 999 calls, taking in those calls within southwest England.
Yeah, so is your mum based in one hospital, or is she sort of, all over the place?
She's not based in a hospital. She's not based in a hospital, but she's having to go into people's homes to give them, whichever. What do you call it? Like, I don't know, look after them in their homes and do appointments, and then go to other people's homes and do that. But they've recently had to put in personal protection equipment while she goes into people's homes to not risk herself, but also not risk the individuals that she's working with in that regard.
Yeah, I think I was just saying that there is hope for this thing to pass, because there has been a decrease of the number of deaths in the UK. I don't keep up with I haven't managed to keep up with most of the stuff that's going on, but I do know for a fact that they've gone down, and I do know for a fact that they can, they can get through it. And I want to say, guys, if you're struggling to, get through your every day, I know it's a real struggle. So please just, hang in there, and I will be sending my best wishes and hopes for you, and that we can get through it. And so, I mean, how are you doing with it all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing great. That's very well said. Yeah, I think. Depending on it's not just people that are. From my point of view, it's not just people that are currently under the strain of what's going on at the moment, but also I think people who are just having to be confined into their own homes. Like my brother hasn't left his house within the space of 3 weeks or so, or something like that, like something that insane. Like I would usually go off to have a walk, go to the off license, grab a drink, and then come back. And then that's my, I've been out for the day, and I'm completely happy with that. So it all depends on the individuals that are coming in. The individuals that are currently staying indoors and coming back out again, and whoever. And it's just it's really deteriorating on people's mental health perspective. Like my brother associates with his friends like non-stop daily. I think if he didn't have the means to communicate with his friends, I think he'd maybe probably lose his mind.
Oh, absolutely. I'm the absolute same. It's so tricky, especially with family as well. My grandparents, they live in London, and even at the best of times, it's quite, hard to see them. I mean, we do see them quite a lot. Yeah, we do see them quite a lot, but it's, even at the best of times, it's quite difficult to keep going and seeing them. But then my nan, she
keep in contact.
Yeah, my nan has been really sort of down because it affects. It has been affecting a lot of older people as well, and she's quite scared, and it's understandable. So I think it's also important to note that it affects the elderly a lot more. I wouldn't say a lot more than young people, because that's not strictly true, but I think the elderly are particularly important because they, you know, a lot of elderly people live alone, and it's, you know, there are organisations out there that look after elderly people that live alone anyway, way before this virus. So the people who are elderly and live alone, you can imagine how difficult it is for them. They've got no company, no one to talk to. It's just, so if you do have grandparents, give them a phone call, get back in contact with them. If you do have someone that's far away, always keep in contact with them. Just play, I don't know, me and my family, we were planning to play a quiz on WhatsApp and just keep our spirits up. So the best thing I can say to you guys is just try and keep your spirits up by playing games, playing card games, you know, phone on camera phone if you can, and because you get a chance to see their face and you're close to them, even though you're not there, you know.
Indeed. So yeah, no, well said. Yeah, it's tricky on my end because I have my dad's granddad who has recently, well, no, he's still alive, but my sorry, people coming and going and whichever. I've had my mum's granddad, well, my mum's dad, and my mum's mum, who have passed away before the point of what we're dealing with now, and also my dad's mum, who also passed away before dealing with what we're dealing with now. And so, I don't know, in some ways I'm kind of grateful because they don't have to put up with what we're currently facing at the moment. Yeah. And it's very, very...
Hang on, I've lost your sound.
Sorry, apologies for that. My very rude interruptions from my brother there. Yeah, absolutely atrocious from him. So what I was saying earlier was my mum's mum and my mum's dad, my grandma and granddad from my mum's side of the family, had passed away prior to this point, and also my dad's mum or my grandmother from my dad's side of the family had passed away before this point. And in some ways, I'm kind of glad that they're not having to deal with the stuff that we're currently dealing with at the moment. My dad's dad, or my granddad from my dad's side of the family, is currently having to go through this and keep himself occupied and what have you. So it's very difficult on his end. And yeah, especially for people of that elderly age, especially in care homes. I can't imagine what people must be feeling in care homes at the moment. They must be scared out of their lives because of all of the deaths that have been going on inside care homes and people passing away and whichever. Really,
and that brings me kind of to my next point. I'm not going to spend too long talking about this because it's a tricky subject. But for me personally, I'm a Christian, right? Which basically, for all those guys out there, it means I believe in God. And in a way, for me, having faith, some sort of faith, helps, because you know that if you lose someone, they're still out there kind of with you, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Now, obviously, I don't know, it depends on what you kind of believe, but in terms of Christian, it means they go to heaven, which is like the best version of, it's kind of like this earth. The best way of describing it in simple terms is like another country. So it's like you're not, I know it's a weird way of describing it, but you're not on this earth, but you're just, It's like if you go to another country on the earth. You're alive and you go to another country and go on holiday. That's kind of the best way to do it to non-Christians.
Sure. I mean, I don't get into this kind of like sort of religious debate in regards to, I suppose, for people that have that religious aspect in their personal lives. It's certainly, I suppose, good for them to have that faith that things will get better on that end. I myself don't really dabble into the
absolutely. I totally get it. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, I think it's good for people to have some kind of faith that things will get better eventually, and there's some sort of belief of, maybe this was done for a reason, in that to challenge human behavior, perhaps, and being able to overcome that, I suppose.
Yeah, you've just said everything I was going to say. It's like saying, look, the universe has had enough. Like you've been mistreating the earth, and either you stop, or the earth is or the world is just going to lose a massive side of its population.
Cool. Do you mind if we go to our break?
Absolutely. Yeah. When we come back, I would like to talk about your audio drama.
I was going to discuss what's happening with charity organisations at the moment and how they're dealing with it at the moment, before talking about other stuff going on.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I just thought it might be good to go on to a more positive kind of thing.
Of course. We'll get to that. All right, folks, we'll take a break for 5 minutes. Have a good one, and we'll see you folks in a sec. In the meantime, I'll play the video of what I was showing prior to. So have a good one, and we'll see you folks in a sec.
My 16 children already.
Yeah. Be a granddad at 50.
We'll be telling them that we live through a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
No, I think, like my dad was saying, he's never experienced something like this in his lifetime.
My nan, 73, and in her 73 years of being here on the planet, she hasn't experienced anything like this. It's absurd. I mean, she lived, through the end of the war.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Right.
Lots of,
yeah. But no, it's just like since like World War II, it's not been like this.
No. I mean, they are saying it's like a... Oh, hello, dog.
Yeah.
They are saying it's like... They are saying it's like a war. It's like we're fighting an invisible enemy, and we are.
Yeah.
And that's
Trump
crazy.
said we're at war on the China virus,
First
thing he said in the bloody press conference. China virus. So mental health, and especially the self-isolation.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of people that have had mild symptoms or mild, mental health issues that could potentially turn into severe because of what's going on. There's so much anxiety around, so much, and I think a lot of people don't really know what to do with that. They don't really know how to express it. Like, I mean, how do we?
I mean, because there's not been something like this. There's no sort of medium.
No, that's right.
It is talked about in social media. And stuff,
people are going to look back on this in 50 years' time and say, this is how you handle it, not like that. Because I don't feel like we're handling it very well at the moment. We were not prepared.
No,
not the
Bill
world
Gates
was
said
not
4 years
prepared.
ago, just fucking said
He's
so.
right.
Yeah.
He's
resigned
as
CEO.
They kept that quiet,
a bit
didn't they?
dodgy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently, there's so many rumors, but there's just all planned is one of them.
Yeah.
But there's whispers that shit's going on behind the scenes, so he's stepped down.
Yeah.
Because things are just going to get worse or something like that. It's just more the fear thing, really. Like, I find the more I look at the news, the more scared I
Same
become.
here.
Yeah.
I watched a video of a woman bedridden who has the virus. Really, really healthy, really fit. I think she's 39 years old.
Yeah.
And she looked like she was in a lot of pain. She was just like, look, if you smoke, give up now. You need your lungs. If if you're not treating your body the right way, just start doing it, because at this moment you don't want to be where I am, because she looked really, really ill and she sounded really ill, but she said that she was improving.
She said that she was
improving, but she still looked really ill. So that must have been, the best of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my boss's mate said he had the virus. He said it's not good.
No.
At all.
Like,
quarantine wank. Sorry.
I mean, what else are you supposed to do?
When people are stocking up at shops, and now they're limiting to 2 per person, because people are just coming out with 12 packs and every trolley filled. I remember I was in Chichester and at the Tesco, like every trolley was filled with toilet roll.
I should mention, likewise, I mean, this isn't the first time that this has happened. I remember back in 2011 when we had... Oh, hello, Ben. Hello. Talking about some of this stuff over the video during the break, but they had mentioned about in 50 years' time, people are going to mention about stocking up toilet roll whilst all this stuff was going on. But I was just mentioning that this isn't the first time that people had mass panicked in stockpiling. And so forth. And then we had this sort of thing going on back in 2011 when people were stockpiling up on petrol because they thought that there was some kind of stockpiling up on petrol and so forth, petrol shortages. And so, whenever they think, oh, this is something that's going to affect their country, stockpile on all of those different kinds of products or whatever, and there you go. That's how mass shortages happen within the space of God knows how many hours or days.
I was just talking to a member or a friend, and he would like to join the live stream.
Is this Anthony again?
Yeah. Apparently he's listening to it right now.
Okay. What does he wish to discuss about?
I have no idea.
Well, we can read some comments because primarily Anthony and James have been commenting on the stream, and we have some comments to read out.
Just before that, I'd like to just continue on your stocking up point. So I saw this story. There was a lot of, particularly in, I think, Hollywood, that area. There was a lot of a point where, because it's mainly where all the celebrities live. They're loaded basically. So like they're kind of like they're all right with equipment and supplies and all that. But for those, there are some people who aren't, they're celebrities but aren't like loaded. And I was listening to a podcast, and this guy was saying, I'm a small celebrity. don't have loads of money, so I can't really stock up. Like he found it a bit unfair that everyone was buying all the food and toilet rolls and all that. To those people who were a bit more relaxed about it, trying to not let it get them down, and they didn't stock up because they just wanted to try and live their normal lives. And then when it came down to it, when all the stocks were empty, they couldn't do it because everyone was just hoarding it, and it made me feel bad. So, you know, even though yes, everyone's stocking up, it's important to remember that, you know, maybe some people, you know, just leave some for the people who haven't got it. Don't just grab so many. Grab as much.
Yeah.
As you
Indeed. So I can comment on some of this because I've seen some of the stuff going on. I mean, this isn't just celebrities, this is football players as well. People comment. I mean, there was a government secretary, I think it was something like the health secretary, who said something like football players should be taking wages, some money out of their wages to fund for the NHS and so forth. I've seen examples of this as well, like because the health system is very different in America to what we have here. They have, well, it's not, all of theirs is like different, like private hospitals and so forth, where it's not a national health service like we have here. So they've had their own, well, with all of these Hollywood celebrities, they've had things like personal physicians and whatever. I think I read a story in that, what was it, Pink or whoever had done like 4 blimmin', what we're currently facing now, those kinds of tests, and 2 for herself and then 2 for her child or whatever. They had fundraised and whatever, and they said, oh, we'd give 50,000 to this organization or whichever. But yeah, I mean, the celebrities aren't exactly having to worry about this sort of thing. And yeah, I think it's very, I suppose it depends on different circumstances of who's who and how they're coping and so forth, and what, if they could do anything more to help those individuals. But I suppose it's on a person by person basis, and if they aren't doing anything to help out more, where they don't need that additional funding or whatever, then I think it's quite disgraceful.
Yes, I definitely think the celebrities could help out more. I mean, the amount that footballers get is ridiculous, and that's been going on years. Compared to the NHS, is ridiculous. Like, I went to hospital once because long story short, I have epilepsy, so I'm regularly at the hospital checking it. So this doctor, my main doctor, said, we're really sorry for, we just walked in and he said, really sorry for the delay. We have only got 100 staff for 2 clinics. So that's, you know, despicable, absolutely despicable. And if the celebrities and the amount of money that footballers get and celebrities, they need to, compared to that, that is ridiculous and despicable, and it's wrong, and the celebrities really need to, you know, give more. And I completely agree with you on that point.
I suppose, yeah, it depends on whether they're privatized, whether they get their own healthcare under the expenses that cover their access to privatized healthcare, or they're in that situation where, like you say, you're waiting in line to be checked over by staff that you trust, and there's people that are just spread out too thin, and they're not able to help those individuals within that time of need. So yeah, it's certainly quite difficult on that end.
Yeah. How many listeners we got?
Well, I was going to say now, I'd like to go through some comments and have a look through. So, so we have hello from Anthony. Hello, Anthony. Good to see you on the stream. We also have, bear with me 1 second. We've got a hello mate from Ethan Taylor. This is one of my brother's friends. Thank you very much for joining the stream. Much appreciated. We also have.
Check out my YouTube channel.
Bear with me 1 second. We have. We also have lots of comments from Anthony, Aaron as well. This is another one of my brother's fans. Thank you very much for joining the stream. Always much appreciated. Now, I think we've got some comments from James and Anthony, James Stevens and Anthony. So James Stevens says, "Hi, Ben and Jacob. I'm enjoying your stream so far. Keep it up, guys." Thank you very much, James, especially given the technical difficulties that we were experiencing earlier. Much appreciated. We also have another comment, I think. Bear with. So he says, this is another comment from James Stevens. In all fairness, I'm quite stressed, but trying to keep myself busy to not come under depression.
Well done, mate. Well done. Keep yourself busy. Yeah, that goes for everyone as well.
Is there anything else that you could recommend to him in regards to the ways in which he can keep himself busy and not come under the depression side of things?
Oh, sorry, my alarm's come on. I'm just going to turn off my phone so I don't get disturbed. I do recommend, I don't know, listen to a good piece of music. That always helps me. Listen, lift your spirits up, or do something creative. Like you are a YouTuber now, and you're just starting on YouTube, so you could write up some stuff for that, and get some ideas going. Or you could, you love gaming, so you just play a good game and hopefully, pass the time. Yeah, that was be my advice to you, James.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that advice, Ben. We also have, I think, some other people. I said, oh no, this isn't something that I said. Anthony agrees with James Stevens' point. James Stevens also says, "It's absolutely heartbreaking knowing all of the elderly suffering from this." Indeed, indeed. So,
absolutely.
We also have. Bear with me 1 second. He also says, "Amazing advice, guys," which is very, very good. He also says, "Shout out to Ben Povey." So there you go. You yourself get a shout out.
Thank you, mate.
We also have. Bear with 1 second. James Stevens agrees with my point where he says, "Me neither, Jacob. I don't really look into religion because it's not really my kind of thing." Anthony agrees with that point, which I think is fair enough. Now we have a message from Cameron, who I had a go at in between the break for having interrupted the stream. And he says, "I would like to apologize to everyone for interrupting the interview. Much love." Well, thank you very much, Cameron, for having apologized for that. I was very, very disappointed in him for having interrupted the stream and being so disgraceful in having. I had told him previously not to interrupt the stream, and he does it anyway. But thankfully, he has apologized on that note for doing so.
Can I just say about how you said, the comments and you don't get involved in this? And I'm not saying, obviously, I know that's not for everyone. I was just expressing how I deal with it, and I wanted to get that point across because that's important. So that's just me personally. That doesn't mean I'm trying to force it on you guys.
Of course, and I don't think it's a case of you needing to defend yourself on that point. Everyone has their own ways of different perspectives, whether that be faith or personal opinion or whichever. I don't think.
I just want to make it clear that I wasn't trying to, put it on anyone.
Of course, that's cool. Good stuff. I think we also have. Well, we've had loads of people who have joined us. Loads of Cameron's friends, my brother's friends, have joined. So Ethan and Aaron, thank you very much for joining the stream. Much appreciated. We also have loads of different people, some of which are from the charity organisation that Ben and I are both volunteer with. So Poppy, thank you very much for joining the stream. That is very much appreciated. We also have, sorry, say that again?
I was just saying hello to Poppy.
That's cool. We also have Jaden Warren and Keanu, who are both with or have been with Chatterboxes. So thank you very much, folks, for joining the stream. Certainly appreciated you folks on board. We also have a couple of people who I'm familiar with, Mia Simmons and Max Jones, who are from friends of mine. So thank you very much for having joined the stream. Much appreciated. And also Nathan Johnston, who's also one of Cameron's friends. Thank you very much, Nathan, for having joined the stream. Much appreciative of you done so. So would you like to take the discussion now into what charities have been doing amongst the what we're currently facing at the moment?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm not that big on it at the moment. I'm going to try and study up a bit more because I need to get into it. And that's another thing, guys. It's terrible. What I'm about to say sounds bad, but it actually does you good. So please don't leave the live stream. Try and not watch the news so much, and obviously keep yourself updated, but watching the news, yes, just keep yourself updated. Don't do it constantly, because that's what everyone seems to do, and then it gets you depressed. So that's another thing I would try to say. Stay away from it a little bit. Not so much that you don't know what's going on, but just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that point. It's actually a point that my college friend George had pointed out in the video, in that just looking at the news constantly is so deteriorating on one's mental health. I mean, you look at, Sky News, and he pointed out, it's in like quarantine yellow. And it's, it's just like the sort of colors that are associated with what's going on at the moment, but you would rather not have that mental image in your head, like, say quarantine yellow or red blood on, say within BBC News, because they use that as their primary color scheme. I wanted to also screen share this point. Sorry, apologies.
On that point, I also want to mention, I just want to direct the viewers over to, if you probably already know about him, he's famous, Russell Howard. He does this thing, he's a comedian, he does this thing called Good News, and he basically... Basically, he does this, he picks the good bits of the news, or good sort of clips of YouTube videos, puts them all together, makes sort of a montage of it. And it's on his YouTube channel. I think it's just Russell Howard. And yeah, you can search that, and he has so it's Russell Howard's Good News, and he makes funny out of the news. I think that's awesome, and that keeps my spirits up. So yeah.
Cool, good stuff. I wanted to come back, to that point about how people depict the news. And I mean, you look at this, right, on BBC, and you've got stuff like, like right bang on the front page, you've got things like, oh, confirmed coronavirus cases passes 2 million. Bang on, just the amount of, how many people are infected, and not so much say, here's a bit of good news. Germany slowly eases lockdown measures, which I think is certainly a bit of good news. But that, when I looked at this prior to doing the live stream, it was like on one of these tabs, like on the right, which I think was a bit, like, oh, it's more important of the people that have that are currently infected or are no longer living, rather than that bit of good news in that, oh, hey, countries are slowly beginning to ease up on lockdown measures. So yeah, I think that's that shows you where their priorities lie with these kinds of news outlets.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, yeah, again, it takes me back to my point. I've said it already, but just please just calm it down on the news.
Would you like me to talk about the aspect of, say, charities and so forth, and what they've been doing to continue on amidst the what we're currently facing at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Brilliant. So Ben and I are employed with, we freely volunteer with a disability organisation called Shoutouts in Bournemouth and various areas in Dorset. And so we ourselves are affected by what's currently been going on at the moment. So this, so how they've been going about this, and I'm going to screen share this up on what they're currently going through at the moment. Bear with me 1 second, and allow me to screen share this. All right. So how they've been going through this at the moment is as follows. So from bear with on this. Right. So from the from March 17th, before areas went into complete lockdown, we had the Chatterboxes organisation released a statement saying, following the latest government advice, we have decided to shut all Chatterbox activities until further notice to ensure the safety of the young people we work with. Staff will be working from home and will continue to offer support via phone/video calling or online. Many thanks to for your continued support and understanding, and warm wishes from Poppy, who was our primary CEO. So I think they saw this coming from a mile away, whether that was the government instructing them to close or so forth prior to quarantine taking place. To put this into perspective, my birthday was on the 20th, so that would have been on a Saturday, I think. No, it would have been on a Friday. So I managed to have a meal at a restaurant with two very good friends of mine, Luke and Niall, and we managed to get that in before they announced for restaurants to close that very same weekend. So we were able to have some Canadian food, and before everything went absolutely kaput. And then obviously Monday, everyone is in lockdown quarantine with what's going on at the moment.
I mean, they even sent me my phone company, the contract I'm on. They even went so far as to send me a text, follow the laws of the government.
Mm.
And that just shows you how serious it is.
Indeed. So yeah, from having sent text out to people to stay in their homes and so forth. And so what Chatterboxes have resorted to at the moment is video conferencing on sites such as Zoom, which are already under controversy at the moment due to security risks. Like I believe it was banned in, I can't remember which country, but it had been banned in a certain country for violating security risks or supposed security risks that would perhaps put that country in worry. And so we ourselves have currently, they've put out challenges to people who are in their homes at the moment, say, oh, can you do this and that? And so we've ended up, with people completing said challenges and doing these conference calls. It's a real shame because on my end of attending these Zoom conference calls, the internet connection has just been absolutely awful to the point where I'm not even able to talk to these individuals. Likewise, they encourage you to download the Zoom app. And for someone like myself that doesn't want to do that because of space on the computer or whichever, they give you the option to join via the web browser, which is good, except the connection on it and the lack of features that there are on the web browser version is pretty atrocious in my opinion.
I don't know how many people have got WhatsApp, but you can get quite a few people on there, like in camp and video calls.
If you continue on discussing about it, I'll be back with you in one second.
Okay, so I was just saying WhatsApp is a good one for chat boxes because you do get lots of video calls and stuff. So you can do more than one person talking on video call on WhatsApp. So that's a good one, just a suggestion for them. Also, guys, I wanted to. Sorry, are you back, Jacob? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, I was just saying to them about WhatsApp, how you can do video calls as well. I know you haven't got it, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, it depends on who's got the technology and.
Yeah, there is a chat box, WhatsApp, I think.
That's good. That is very, very good in on that note. But yeah, like yeah, it's tricky because I think how it is going at the moment. I think because they're currently needing to prioritize stuff where possible, and us to ourselves have already had this discussion about where we think the priority should lie and whether the organization themselves are spreading themselves too thin to try and get in communication with a whole bunch of different people at a set time. Like my brother is having to get in contact with them through, like we have 3 different groups going on like we usually would if people came to a conference. Well, not like a conference, but people getting together and actually attending, say, the sessions that Chatterboxes run, and having to prioritize where there's stuff go in regards to that. Like I ended up on a stream, conference stream on Tuesday, and there was so many people in that stream just talking over each other and whichever, and it just gets to the point where you're not able to have fluid conversations with said people, which is what I would like to have through the Zoom side, but that's just not possible with people.
I think the limit to WhatsApp,
technical difficulties and so forth.
The limit to WhatsApp, though, is you can only have about 4 or 5 people on a video call at once.
Yeah, that would certainly be a lot more beneficial. I mean, in these conference calls, we're having somewhere between maybe 8 people. That's like at the very minimum, from 8 people to say 16, 18 odd people that we're having in a conference call, some of whom have disabilities and have difficulties working their way through the conference call, how Zoom works and so forth, and having to deal with that end and people talking over and resulting in just all of this kerfuffle.
I don't know if Poppy's still listening, but what I would recommend is try WhatsApp, because it does a few people. It's only a few people, and that's a good point where you don't talk over people. But you can only get, unfortunately, you can only get 4 or 5 people on a camera phone. But it's a good place to just start if you want, sort of in a professional way, rather than people talking over people. And it's a lot to use, I feel. And also, if I was to, because I can make WhatsApp calls and regular calls at the same time. So you don't have WhatsApp yet.
Yeah, that's right.
So I could call you whilst I'm on a conference call with everyone else.
Yeah. Sorry. I was going to say, following on from that point, I think you're absolutely right in that having smaller based conversations is certainly the way I would go about it, having groups of people, maybe 5 to 6 at any given time, and having to do that. But obviously I look at this from the chatterboxes or the management perspective, and I look at, say, how they've currently structured and put these plans in place, taking on our feedback, and then having to essentially reorganize their plans and having to take in more time to communicate with all of these different groups and so forth. But I think it would certainly be beneficial to some extent, in that having a small amount of people being able to talk to them on a stable line would certainly be a lot more beneficial over, say, getting 18 people on one sort of conference call.
Yeah, the connection went a little bit, sorry.
That's all right. But having a smaller group of people over, say, 18 people on one giant conference call, I think would certainly be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if Poppy is still listening. Have we had any comments from her?
Well, we've had some comments from a bunch of other people. So I'm going to continue on from where we left off last time. So James had said, thanks, guys, in regards to our advice. I'll try. I mostly read the posts on the Google app. Okay. Very, very, very cool. Keanu says, you guys have been keeping well, so thank you very much, Keanu, for that. James said, shout out to the chatterboxes. Fair enough. James also says, you were so lucky, I think. So I assume he's referring to when I went to a restaurant prior to everything shutting down the day before. And he said, when did the government want to shut down the pubs and restaurants? On that very same day. So on the 20th of March, they said for non-essential places, so say restaurants and what have you, to shut down completely. Fast food chains hadn't shut down prior to, but they had shut down, I think it was something like Monday. So they shut down on Monday once the lockdown came into effect. And also, we have some other comments. Anthony's saying, oh, WhatsApp bad, whatever, that's one's own personal opinion. Anthony says you can only get 4 people in, apparently.
Yes, but smaller meetings are better, as you said.
Agreed. Yeah, especially if people are having connection issues and so forth. James Stevens says, yeah, you're right. It is too much when lots of people are talking constantly at the same time and some can't have a say. Yeah, agreed. I mean, I experienced that today trying to get into a Zoom conference call from the Wednesday group. Because my connection was absolutely poor, I can say to everyone, oh, hey, here's how my week's been, because obviously my line was disrupted.
Well,
so,
now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, did you want to say something?
I was just saying, it seems to be okay now.
Very good. Yeah, at least given how we're able to continue on with the stream, which is certainly beneficial. Anthony's recommending Microsoft Teams that I myself don't use. Anthony says, oh, it's better than Zoom and WhatsApp put together. Fair enough. James Stevens also says, but mind you, on the PS4 party chat, you can have about 16 people. Well, if everyone had a PS4, if 16 people had a PS4, that'd be great. But primarily for professional conference calls, I don't think many people would do it through PlayStation 4 or what have you. Anthony also responded with, I would like to talk about something about I heard about all panics over the last few years. And I don't know what that is. He says, a ferry I heard about 2050. You may need to rephrase that question again, because I don't know what on earth you're attempting to want to talk to us about.
Yeah. I think he was mentioning a similar situation. Now, Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was mentioning a similar situation happened in 2015. Yeah, that's what I think he was mentioning.
Cool. So that's currently where we're at with charities at the moment. Obviously, there are
Hello? You've gone again. Yeah, guys, the connection's lost again. Until Jacob...
Hello.
Hello, all right.
Yeah, this is the difficulty that I have to deal with.
I don't
hopefully
know,
everything comes
really
normal.
Internet, so you can
do
it for him.
Hello. Are you? Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Hello.
Good. I lost connection on this end yet again. So yeah.
Anthony told me that he's got really good internet, so we could continue it through him. That was his suggestion, but I don't know if you want to do that.
That's cool. I think we're almost coming towards an end either way. Certainly getting it towards the 2. Well, ideally, once we end at the 2-hour mark, that would certainly be good. So yeah, there are other different organizations such as Macmillan that have their own priorities in place. They have call providers and so forth, and I'm assuming other charity organizations as well have different backups in place in regards to reaching out to the people that they need to reach out to the most.
Yeah, I think you make some excellent points, and I think throughout this live stream it's been such an interesting conversation, and very educational to me in particular. And I hope I've sort of helped everyone that's listening. I'd like to say, but there is one thing I want to talk about, going off the topic of the virus together.
Cool.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'm done talking about this lot anyway.
Yeah, going off that topic, I wanted to mention maybe we could talk about your audio drama in another live stream, because as you said,
yeah, no, that would be good. Yeah.
As you said, it's quite way. But I also wanted to mention my my company, and the reason I wanted to mention this, is I think it's a good time.
Oh, right, yes.
I think it's a good time to mention it, as the fact that in these times, these dark times, it's primarily the company for what it's supposed to be. It's to keep up positive vibes and to keep you happy. And right now, I think it's going to be an online thing. I have a Facebook page. It's Ben Povey. Now, please bear in mind, guys, if you do want to join, I have severe dyslexia. So I may take a while to reply to you, but I will 100% reply to you. And I've literally just got Facebook, so I'm still learning how it goes. So please bear in mind that as well. Also, so basically the basic principle of the company is I will give you lots of positive, because I'm also like a poet writer and a story writer. I will give you lots of positive sort of poems and little stories, and it's kind of going on a base of that, the chatterboxes, but just a smaller community at the moment, obviously, because it's just started. And I think also a smaller community, I think, is better, because you've still got that family, but it's kind of like, if it's too expanded, then it's all over the place and no one knows what's going on. And I think that's a valid point for chatterboxes as well. So that's why I wanted to keep my sort of company small. So yeah, over at my Facebook page, I'm going to be posting positive things every day, like little poems and stories, and it's going to start out just a conversation company, and then hopefully later on we'll do meetups and things like that. But yeah, also I'm going to mention my YouTube channel. It's Ben Povey TV, if you don't mind, Jacob.
That's absolutely fine. Good old self-promotion and whichever.
Yeah, I want to mention my YouTube channel, Ben Povey TV. Loads of different great videos that, well, I'm biased, but lots of good content there to keep you happy and positive. And it is a variety channel. It's not just based around one thing. So hopefully there's something for everyone. So please go check that out. YouTube, Ben Povey TV. Is there any else you want to say, Jacob? I'm pretty much done with it.
What I wanted to ask was in regards to this organization that you're starting up. Would this act as, say, like, I don't know, like a consultancy agency? So say if someone messaged you, almost like peer mentoring that I do at the moment, if say someone came to you with, I'm in this situation at the moment, what would you advise to say if I needed to sort this out? And then you would respond back with the words of advice in regards to how to deal with said situation. Does it work like that, or is it somewhat?
You know what? You pretty much explained all what it is in a way that I probably wouldn't have explained it, but it's the same. So yeah, throughout my life, I've been through so much, and I've had so many negative experiences. I don't need to get gloomy, considering, but I've been through so many negative experiences, and I've used that to shape me as a person. I wouldn't be the person I am today without going through those experiences, and I try to see the light in every situation. And I've worked out, because back in the day, when I was at not primary school, probably about secondary school, I went to severe depression. I was so down. But what actually pushed me out of it was my counsellor. So I do think it's a good idea if you are feeling down. That is another good piece of advice. Go to counselling. There's nothing to be ashamed of. They don't judge you. They don't like, you know, a lot of the time when people don't go to counselling, the reason is because they are embarrassed that they will judge you or scared what they might think. But the counsellors have had special training to help you in any situation. They don't judge, they give you methods on how to deal with it. Just my promotion again, just as my book will, you know, give you methods on how to deal with it when it comes out. You can keep updated with that on my YouTube channel. And I think that is primarily for the company as well, as a peer mentor thing. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I was going to mention, because prior to all of this lot going down and the colleges shutting down and so forth, I mean, I had applied for grievance counselling over the passing of my former TA over at college, Joseph Young. He had passed away under very tragic circumstances. You know, I was in shock regarding it, and I had applied for counselling regarding that. Well, that is before everything shut down, and obviously that counselling isn't, you know, available because, you know, all of the colleges have shut down. But obviously, you know, I've had the support of friends and family to go through that. So it's very, very good.
Yeah, if you're not in contact with your family, please just go try, for one other reason or some circumstances or whatever, please go try and remake that connection, because family around these times is really important, and hopefully you can reform those bonds. Sometimes when you've been away from your family, or I don't know, say a family had an argument and you just split up all the family members, sometimes it can act as a positive for this situation that everyone's in, can act as a positive, because you can reform those bonds, and as the bonds reform, it brings you closer to your family that you may have distanced yourself from for whatever reason. And my goal for this company is to bring everyone closer, not just one particular group of people, but people in other countries. I want to expand it to people in other countries. I want to expand it just to bring everyone closer through my peer mentoring as well, because I've actually had professional counselling training. I've been on an advanced counselling course and first aider, and, you know, all the kind of good stuff that tries to help people. So I do have, I'm not trying to big myself up, but I do have a lot of good experience that I feel really could help people.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, that's certainly good to have in regards to, say, you know, counselling training and so forth. I myself had gone through training to become, you know, an AQA qualified peer mentor and so forth, and so having those qualities on and being able to help people in such situations because of the training that you've had, I think is very, very good quality to have.
I actually wanted to also ask you about your peer mentoring. I don't know what kind of, and I know it's all confidential in your peer mentoring and stuff. I completely understand that. But when you were training to be a peer mentor, did they teach you that you have to break the connection between your situation and your client's situation? Because I mentioned when on my course that it's important to say, I don't know, I'll give you an example. Say I was being bullied and you were bullied. It might bring up some old feelings for you when your client is talking about it. Now, if you're going to counsel someone on that or mentor someone on that, you have to be sure as a counsellor that you are past your issues, because
Oh, hello, are you still there? Here we go. Oh, hello, are you still there?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Where did I break up from?
You broke up upon the point where you were saying about, if you haven't made peace with what you were going through at that point as a counsellor.
Oh, yes. So so if you haven't made peace from if you were bullied, it's important to make sure that you put that aside and you cannot intertwine, if you know what I mean, your issues with your clients.
Yes.
Now, when you were trained to do that, did they mention anything about that, or I don't know how they did it?
Not particularly. I mean, on my end, I've let go aside those past issues in my personal life in order to become a peer mentor, which was around about the point when I was 16. So I had left secondary school at that point and moved on to college, where it was a much more what would you call it, like accepting experience and much more mature people present there and so forth. And so I think that was just something that I brought on as an individual. And I think it would be pretty different for, say, someone who had, say, a mental disability, and they were still having to face up with these issues. And if they became a peer mentor, then perhaps that element would intertwine, and those individuals could be, say, taken advantage of. So I think it's very important that you let go, though, of whatever problems you had in the past, face that aside, and still be able to support that individual and on their terms and what they're going through at the moment.
Absolutely. And I think also it's important to, if you have, say, for example, you're talking to someone about one of your issues, like I say, it's also to have a backup counsellor for you. And what I mean by that is, so you cannot get overwhelmed with their issues, you can talk it through with them. And because it's confidential, whether it's you or the person that you're peer mentoring, it doesn't matter. Or what you could do is go over to, because most professional counsellors have a consultant that they will, if they're not sure how to deal with their client's issue, they will go over to their consultant and talk it through with them to say, how can I tell my client how to deal with this? So even if the counsellor isn't sure and they say to you as a client, "Oh, I'm not quite sure," or they might put it another way as to not scare you, they will probably go to their consultant and talk to them, so they can come back at the client to give them ways of dealing with it. So that no matter what situation you are in or what circumstances it is, they will always have information and methods on how to deal with your issue.
Brilliant. Well said. On that note, I think we're going to end it there. I think we've got some last bits of comments and people who had joined us. Anthony linked some, conspiracy theory. Will this happen 10 quintillion years from now? Oh,
don't get involved in that.
Yeah, conspiracies. A whole bunch of people had joined in and out. So some people who I'm familiar with who had been at the Chatbox organization previously, Cameron Hayden and Jaden Warren, thank you very much for joining the stream. Much, much appreciated. My sister Amy had also joined the stream. Thank you very much to Amy for having done that. Also, some people who I'm familiar with on my end, Jordan Cross, Francesca Rodriguez, and Theo Dyer, who have been friends through over the years. Thank you very much to those people for having joined the stream. Much appreciated of having your presence there. I'm just going to check if we have any more comments? If not, we are going to end it there. No, we do not. So on that note, I don't know about you, but I'm very much so happy in ending the stream there.
There are a couple of things I want to talk to you about off the live stream, if that's okay. Sure,
brilliant. Yeah, no, I'm more than willing to have that conversation once the stream's over, which is all well and good.
Nothing serious. I just want to ask you a few questions.
That's cool. Good stuff. Cool. So on that note, thank you very much to everyone for having the stream.
And please subscribe to my channel again and subscribe and notification bell and all that. Ben Povey TV.
What I'll do for the folks is link down below the live stream, a link to your YouTube channel and so forth. Ben and I previously had an interview on there that you can still check out. So for those that are interested in the kinds of content that Ben Povey has to offer, then by all means check out his channel.
Loads of different ones. So it's a variety channel. So hopefully there is something for everyone.
So different videos of different types and so forth.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Awesome. Alrighty, folks, we'll have a good one. Stay safe. We'll hopefully see you all again soon, whether that be through various other streams and whichever. So have a good one and see you folks soon. Have a good one, folks. Take care. Bye.